ሰላም ተማሪዎች እንደምን አላችሁ? ዛሬ ፕሪንሲፕል አርጉመንት በተደጋጋሚ የተለያዩ ተማሪዎች ፕሪንሲፕል አርጉመንት ግልጽ አይደለም ይሄስ ቢሆን እያላችሁ የተለያዩ ጥያቄዎች እየላካችሁ ልኝ ነበርና የሆነ ጋፕ እንዳለ ስለተረዳሁኝ let me show you this principal argument how can you find or calculate from the given complex number የሚለውን ለማሳየት ወደድኩኝ። let us see this one. Before we are dealing about principle of argument or the way of calculating this principal argument, let's try to recall some terms about it. We said that the principal argument lies between what? Negative pi less than theta less than or equals, this is pi blana, or in degree which is equals negative 180 degree less than theta is less than or equals 180 degree including this blana. Why we use this one? To make that this theta is unique ለማድረግ ነው። Otherwise infinitely many arguments ሊኖሩ ይችላሉ። To be principal it must be between this one. At the same time we say that negative 180 degree and 180 degree have the same trigonometric value አላቸው ብለናል. So they are not unique if you include this negative 180 degree or negative pi include አደረግን ማለት it cannot be unique theta since negative pi and pi have the same trigonometric value ስላላቸው unique አይሆንም. So to keep this uniqueness it is better to take what? This theta between negative pi and pi including this pi and excluding negative plane. Because since we have the complex plane, if we start from positive x-axis, when we arrive this one, this is pi or 180 degree. This is clockwise direction. In that case, we take positive theta. If we move in case of clockwise direction in this way, here we have what? Negative values. Or if you arrive here, we have negative. Since both are coterminal angles, they end at the same place, so this implies that the trigonometric value of this pi as well as negative pi is the same. So they cannot be unique መሆን አይችሉም since ሁለቱም ተመሳሳይ value ስላላቸው. So we take this pi including pi but excluding negative pi. And the other thing, to be unique, if it lies between positive x-axis, this is positive x-axis, to this pi, we take that is positive value. If the complex number lies at the third quadrant or it may lie at the fourth quadrant, in that case we move clockwise direction. Since when we take values that means with counterclockwise direction, in that case the value is what? Greater than 180 degree. That means if it is greater than 180 degree, it cannot be principal argument. You may start from this one or like this. This is greater than 180 degree. If you start from this and arrive at the first quadrant, also it cannot be between negative pi and pi. Because of this, always it is better to keep our theta between negative pi and pi, including pi and excluding the negative pi. The other thing that we consider, we will try to know or determine the common trigonometric values that we have. Let's take here is theta 0 degree. Let's take here is 30 degree. You can consider 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree. The others also reversal. This means 0 degree. This is 30 degree means what? This is pi over 6 rad. This means pi over 4 rad. In rad, this one is what? Pi over 3 rad. This one is pi over 2 rad. And this one is pi rad. So you can use them interchangeably. This one is also this one. This also is equal to this. This is equal to this one. The other have the same trigonometric value with this one. So we'll take here is sine of this one, sine theta. You have cos theta and tan theta. The other is generated from this one, theta. Here is sine theta. So the value at 0, it is sine is 0. And sine 30, that is half. Sine 45, that is root 2 over 2. Sine 60, that is root 3 over 2. And sine pi over 2, that is 1. Sine 180 degree, that is 0. Similarly, cos 0 means that is 1. Cos 30 degree, it is root 3 over 2. And This one is what? Root 2 over 2. And cos of 60 degree, that is half. And 90 degree, it is 0. And cos of 180 degree, that is negative 1. The other take that we consider, you know that tan theta means sin theta over cos theta, which implies 0 divided by 1, that is 0. 1 over 2 divided by root 3 over 2, that is 1 over root 3. Similarly, root over 2 divided by root over 2, that is 1. Root 3 over 2 divided by half, that is root 3. And 1 divided by this 0, it is undefined. And 0 divided by negative 1, that is 0. So you have to consider there's a common trigonometric values. The other is what? The value which is equal to. You can take the negative 2 also. Negative 30 pi over 6 or 30 degree means what? Negative 1 over 2. The same for the case of the others. In case of cosine, since it is even function, cos 30 degree as well as cos negative 30 degrees are the same. You know that sine function is odd. Sine function is odd function. That means sine theta, negative theta, is equals to negative of sine theta. But cos is even function. Cos theta, cos function is, this is even function. Even function means cos of negative theta is equals to the same with cos theta. This is odd, but this one is even function. So using this information, you'll try to find the principal argument for the following. Let us see. Find the principal for this one. To find the principal argument for this one, nothing is done but you'll try to observe what tan inverse of this one and where it lies. When observe this complex number, the real and the imaginary part lies what? At the first quadrant. Here is 3. Let's say here is 3. Similarly, here we have what? The same, that is 3. So we try to measure this one. Let's take here is theta. So tan theta is equals to, we say that opposite over adjacent. The opposite for this theta is equals to, that is 3. That means the imaginary part divided by the real part, that is 3, which is equal to 1. What does imply? This implies that theta is equals to tan inverse of 1. What is tan inverse of 1? As we observe there, tan theta 1 means what? Tan inverse of that is 45 degree. From this is equals to 45 degree. Or we can express this in the form of rad. This is pi over 4 rad. Therefore, the principal argument for this one, we can say capital arc Z is equals to pi over 4 rad. Or we can say 45. Similarly, when you come to this, as observe this one, this lies where it lies at the fourth quadrant. Since the imaginary part that is negative, the real part is positive, so it lies at the fourth quadrant. Let us consider here is 1. Here is equals negative 1. So we move what? This clockwise direction. If you move this one, in the case of counterclockwise direction, it is greater than what? Greater than pi. You can move in this one. Start from positive x-axis and arrive somewhere this. This implies it is greater than what? Pi. So if it is greater than pi, we can't take that as a principal argument. In this case, ምን እንወስዳለን ማለት ነው? counterclockwise move ስናደርግ ፖዚቲቭ ቫልዩ ነው ብለናል። ፖዚቲቭ ቫልዩ ስንወስድ ደግሞ ከዚህ 180 ነው፣ ከዚህ 90 ይጨምራል፣ ከዛ some values add ያደርጋል። ስለዚህ ከ180 ስለሚበልጥብን we can't take this as a principal argument መውሰድ አንችልም። instead ምን እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው? from positive x-axis ተነስተን we move what? counterclockwise በሰዓት ተመሳሳይ move እናደርግና we arrive at the same vector representation of what? The complex number ላይ arrive እናደርጋለን። ስለዚህ አንድ complete revolution 360 ዲግሪ ስለሆነ ሜጀር የሚያደርገው ይሄኛው የቀረው ምን ሆናል ማለት ከዚህ ከቶታሉ ላይ ሲቀነስ ከ360 ላይ ሲቀነስ ይሄኛው ወይም ከ2 ፓይ ላይ ይሄኛው ሲቀነስ we obtain this value እናገኛለን ማለት ነው። So what is that? This is equals to tan theta. Let's say this is theta and it becomes negative. Yes, tan theta is equals to Opposite, as we did before, opposite divided by the adjacent of it. The opposite is that is imaginary of our z divided by the real part of our z. The imaginary, that is -1, divided by 1, which is equals -1. What does imply? This implies that theta is equals to tan inverse of, what is that? That is -1, which is analogous with what? Tan inverse of 1, but the sign is negative. The sign is negative means what? It lies at the fourth quadrant, or it may be what? At the second quadrant. In both cases, second and fourth quadrant, tan theta is negative. Because of that, we take here is -45 degrees, or this is equals -pi/4. So the principal argument for this one is arc z is equals to, we can say, -pi/4. Still, it lies between -pi to what? Pi. We obtain such forms. Let us see the next one. Next one says it is z is equals -2√3 plus 2i in the imaginary. Then find the principal for this one. As we did it before, let's try to see the complex plane we have, where it lies. Which implies that -2√3, let's take somewhere this, -2√3, and the imaginary part, that is 2. Let us consider here is 2. So this as vector we can represent as such forms. It lies this one, and we will try to find what? The measure of this. You see where it lies? It lies at second quadrant. In that case, from this to this, it measures 90 degree. 90 degree, or it is what? pi/2. So we add some terms which is greater than what? 90. So the degree measure for this one from this positive x-axis to the complex number z is equals -2√3 plus 2i is greater than 90 degree እንደሆነ እናያለን እዚህ ጋር ግልጽ ነው። ስለዚህ how can find that one? ያንን ለማግኘት as we did before, you have to consider this some value that is beta ቢሆን የኛው ቴታ ይሆናል። ስለዚህ ቤታ ፕለስ ቴታ is equals to ምን ይሆናል? 180 ዲግሪ ይሆናል ማለት ነው። So from this, what is tan theta? Tan theta is equals to the imaginary part, that means as we said before, that is opposite over adjacent. This means the imaginary part divided by the real part of this complex number. For the imaginary part, this is 2 divided by -2√3, which is equals, we cancel 2 by 2, what remains? -1/√3, which implies that what about theta? Theta is equals to tan inverse of -1/√3 ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ይሄ ከሆነ this is negative, but which is equal to with tan of what? Tan inverse 1/3 ጋር እኩል ይሆንና ነገር ግን ኔጌቲቭ የሚሆነው where it lies what? At the second quadrant ወይም ደግሞ fourth quadrant ስለሆነ tan inverse of 1/3 as observed there, but that tan equals 1/3 የሚሆነው where? That means 30 degree ነው. So this implies that we add what? ጭኛው ቤታ ምን ይሆናል ማለት 30 degree ነው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ from this to this it shows negative ስለሆነ የሚያሳየው what that supplementary angle ስለሚሆኑ ቴታ እና ቤታ, what is our theta? Our theta is 180 degree minus 30 degree, which is equals 150 degree, or which is equals to 5/6 pi radian. So as observed this one, it is less than pi. Therefore, our principal argument for this one is z is equals to 5/6 pi rad. You can say this one. We add one more. Similarly, z is equal to -1 minus √3i. It says where it lies. As observe this one, it lies at the third quadrant. Observe this one. Here is what form? -1 somewhere this, and in case of y, here we have -3. So this is the complex plane. Let's consider this one like this. So we start positive x-axis and arrive somewhere this. As observe this one, still this is greater than what? Greater than 180 degree. So if say this is some beta, we add some values with what? Beta. instead of this one, it is better to move what? In counterclockwise direction. In this way, we move in case of not instead of counterclockwise direction, we move what? Clockwise direction. In that case, we take negative values. So, what about tan theta is equals to the imaginary part, that is negative root 3, divided by the real part, negative 1, which is equals to root 3. What is theta? Theta is equals to tan inverse of root 3. Tan theta positive where it is positive at the first or what? Third quadrant ላይ ሁለቱ ላይ positive ይሆናል tan theta. So it shows that it's at third quadrant ስለሆነ this is equivalent with tan inverse of 3. What's that? Tan inverse of root 3 means that it's 60 degree, which is equals with 60 degree, this is the value 60 degree. So this is 180 plus 60 degree means what? 240 degree. What's that? That is beta, which is equals to 60 degree and 240 degree. This is divided by 180, 240 degree or 180 degree times pi rad. Cancel this 0 by 0 by 6. This is 4 by this is equals to 4/3 pi radian. Since it moves constantly what? A complete revolution means 2 pi ስለሆነ our theta becomes to be principal, which is equals negative of 2 pi. Take this is 2 pi minus 4/3 pi, which is equals to 2 pi minus 4/3 pi multiply this 3 pi 2 pi, that is 6 pi. 6 pi minus 4 pi means 2 pi over 3 होना. That means negative 2 pi over 3. You observe this one. Negative 2 pi over 3 means what? Which is equals negative 120 degrees. It is less than what? Between negative pi and pi መካከል ይገኛል ማለት ነው. So our principal argument for our z is equals to negative 2/3 pi. We take negative since we move on clockwise direction ነው የምናደርገው። ለምን counter clockwise move ስናደርግ ከ180 greater ስለሚያደርግ ወይም ከፓይ ስለሚበልጥ it is better to make principal move from clockwise direction starting from positive x-axis. ከፖዚቲቭ x-axis እንነሳና clockwise direction እንመጣለን። ኔጌቲቭ ሳይኑ የሚያሳየው ሙቭመንታችን ወይም ደግሞ ሙቭ ያደረግነው ከፖዚቲቭ x-axis ወደ clockwise direction በሰዓት ተመሳሳይ movement ወይም ደግሞ direction ወይም እንቅስቃሴ አቅጣጫ ሙቭ ማድረጋችንን የሚያሳይ መሆኑን ያሳያል ኔጌቲቭ እንጂ ሌላ ዲፈረንስ የለውም። that is positive ስንል ደግሞ በሰዓት ተቃራኒ የእጃችን ሰዓት ከሚንቀሳቀስበት በተቃራኒ ሙቭ ካደረግን we take that theta value positive እንወስዳለን ብለናል። በዚህ አይነት መንገድ principle of argument ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ማንኛውም ጥያቄ ካላችሁ መጠየቅ ወይም ኮሜንት ላይ ማስቀመጥ ትችላላችሁ። ቻናሉን ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ ማድረጋችሁን አትርሱ። ማንኛውንም አስተያየትም ኮሜንት ላይ አስቀምጡልን። ለምን የበለጠ እንድንሰራና ተደራሽ እንድንሆን ስለሚረዳን ለስራችን ስኬታማ ውጤታማ እንድንሆን የእናንተ አስተያየት ለኛ ጥሩ ግብአት ወይም ደግሞ የጥንካሬያችን ምንጭ ስለሚሆን ማንኛውንም አስተያየታችሁን ሳትቆጥቡ እንድትሰጡን ወይም ኮሜንት ላይ እንድታስቀምጡልን እንጋብዛለን። Let me add you one concept for this one. Let's take this z is equals to 1 plus I complex number times 1 minus I. One option. The other one, let's take there is z is equals to 2 plus 2 root 3 I times, let's take here is 1 plus I. You can take this one. And then principal argument. How can we find this principal argument? As you are familiar, this principal argument is this product is 1 plus I times 1 minus I. So the principal argument of this z is equals arg of this is 1 plus I plus arg of what? This is 1 plus I plus arg of 1 minus I. As we are familiar with this, what is the argument for 1 plus I means what? That is tan inverse of what for? The imaginary, that is 1, divided by the real part 1. Plus this also tan inverse of the imaginary, that is negative 1, divided by the real part, that is 1. ይህንን ኦብዘርቭ ስናደርግ የመጀመሪያው 1 plus I ማለት it lies what? At the first quadrant. መጀመሪያው quadrant ላይ ነው. It had these forms. This means tan inverse of 1 means which is equals pi over 4 ይሆናል. This is similarly when it comes to tan inverse of negative 1 means it lies what? At the fourth quadrant. This is equals what? The same as tan inverse of 1 but its sign is negative. What is that value? It becomes negative pi over 4. This is plus negative pi over 4. What the result? Which is equals to 0. The argument is 0. It says by taking what? The sum of the two are principal argument since it is what? Product of what? Complex number. Or you can simplify it. Let's try to simplify that z. Z is equals to, when take 1 times 1, that is 1, minus 1 times I, that is I, plus I times 1, that is I, minus I squared. For the result, which is equals to minus I plus I, that is 0, 1 minus I squared means that is 2. This means this 2 where it lies. Let's take somewhere this is 1, this is 2. So it lies what? At the x-axis, positive x-axis. So what is tan inverse of this is 0 is y-axis, that is the imaginary 0 and the real is 2. So this implies that theta is equals to tan inverse of, that is 0. This means theta is equals to 0. So the argument of this 1 plus I and 1 minus I means which is equals argument of, that is 2. ለምን ተሆነ? Because z is equals 1 plus I times 1 minus I is equals to, that is 2 ነው። ሁለት ስለሆነ የዚህ argument ማለት argument of 2 ይሆናል. That is equals to 0. What obtained there? The same solution. Similarly, for the case of this, again you have to do the same way. Multiply. This is equal to the first one. This is 2 plus 2 root 3 lies at the first quadrant. Here, let's say this is 2 plus 2 root 3 in the x component, the imaginary one. Similarly, 1 plus I means what? 1 plus I. Let's take is 1 plus I. Here we have. So the principal argument for this one is what? Arc z is equals to the argument of the first one, that is 2 plus 2 root 3 I, plus the argument of, here is 1 plus I. You have to take this one. But the argument of 2 plus 2 root 3 I means what? Which is equals tan inverse of the imaginary part, that is 2 root 3 divided by 2, plus this one is the argument of 1 plus I is tan inverse of the imaginary 1, that is 1 over, which implies tan inverse of 2 root 3 over 2 means what? That is root 3, plus here is tan inverse of 1. Tan inverse of root 3 means, which is equals, we say that 60 degree, or this is pi over 3 plus tan inverse of 1 means that is pi over 4. Take their sum, which implies, which is equals to 7 pi over what? 7 pi over 12. Still this is what? Between, this is the element which is obtained what? Between negative pi to, yes, it is correct. So whatever the case, we can find in such forms, or if you want, you'll try to simplify it. After simplifying this value, you can find the intervals that you have. ይህኛውንም principal argumentቱን በዛ አይነት መንገድ ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ። መጀመሪያ ይሄንን ታባዛላችሁ። ካባዛችሁ በኋላ of that is the imaginary divided by the real part አድርጋችሁ ስትሰሩ you get the same result ታገኛላችሁ። Therefore, the principal argument for this, our z is equals to 7 pi over 12 ማለት ነው። Here we have the result. ስለዚህ ማካፈል ሲሆን ደግሞ ምን ይሆናል? the difference between them የሁለቱ ዲፈረንስ ይሆናል። ስለዚህ በተመሳሳይ ሌሎች ጥያቄዎች ካሏችሁ በዚሁ አይነት መንገድ መስራት ትችላላችሁ። ወይም if you come across any difficulty you can ask or put your ኮሜንታችሁን ማስቀመጣችሁን አትርሱ። ስለዚህ argument of, for instance, z1 over z2 is equals to, this is equals argument of z1 the argument of z2 ይሆናል። ተመሳሳይ ጥያቄዎችን መስራት ትችላላችሁ። ከላይ የሰራነውን በማካፈል እያደረጋችሁ መስራት ትችላላችሁ። that means, for instance, z is equals to 1 plus I over 1 minus I ቢሆን, which implies what's that? The argument of this z is equals to argument of 1 plus I minus of, this is the principal argument of 1 minus I ብለን መስራት እንችላለን። Find the argument, this one, as we did before, which is equals to tan inverse of 1 over 1 minus, here is tan inverse of, what the result? Negative 1 over 1, which implies that tan inverse of 1 means what? That is pi over 4, minus tan inverse of negative 1 means that is negative pi over what? 4 over 1, since it lies what? At the fourth quadrant, as we did before, which is equals to pi over 4 plus pi over 4. For the result, which is equals to pi over 2. This is the result what you want to find. Or the other option, or you can simplify it, this one. That means z is equals to 1 plus I. Change the denominator to real number 1 plus I divided by 1 minus I times what? 1 plus I. As we say, this one by conjugate of the denominator, you have to multiply both numerator and denominator of this complex number, which is equals 1 times 1, that is 1, plus 1 times I, that is I, plus I times 1, that is I times I, that is what? Plus I square, divided by, this is 1 square plus 1 square, that is 2. On the result, 1 plus I means 2I. I square means negative 1. 1 minus negative 1, that is 0 plus 2I. This is 2I. Divided by, that is 2. You cancel this 2 by 2, what remains, which is equals to I. So, this shows that on the xy plane, this is a complex plane, 1 means somewhere this here. Let's take here is 1. So, the real part here is 0. So, tan inverse, that means it doesn't exist, since the imaginary part, that is 1. 1 divided by 0 is what? Doesn't exist. Where it doesn't exist, it says that our principal argument theta is equals to 90 degrees, or which is equals to what? Pi over 2. So the principal argument or arc of our z is equals to pi over 2. What obtained there? The same result we obtain. ስለዚህ በፈለጋችሁት መንገድ አፍተር ሲምፕሊፊኬሽን መስራት ትችላላችሁ ወይም ደግሞ የእያንዳንዱን ፕሪንሲፓል አርጉመንት ዲፈረንሳቸውን በመውሰድ በዛ አይነት መንገድ መስራት ትችላላችሁ። ስለዚህ ማንኛውንም ጥያቄ በኮሜንት ላይ አስቀምጡልኝ። ማንኛውንም አስተያየታችሁን እንፈልገዋለን። ለምን ለወደፊት የተሻለና ለእናንተ በሚመቻችሁ መልክ ይዘንላችሁ እንድንቀርብ ግብአት ሊሆነን ስለሚችል ማንኛውም አስተያየታችሁን እንድትሰጡን እንጋብዛለን። ኮሜንት ላይ አስቀምጡልን። ባይ ባይ።